Students, welcome back to American Government. Today, we're going to be talking about the impeachment process, why Congress is so darn important to it, what effects it has, and how we can relate this constitutional process to current events and our current president. So, without any further ado, please find impeachment in Canvas. And then here are our plans for today. Highlighted text indicates you need to write and submit information to this assignment. Ensure you've completed all requirements in the what to submit section near the bottom, and participation will be rewarded for participating in class discussion if we do this lesson together. So impeachment is a process you have probably heard of. Maybe some of you are sure of what it means. Maybe some of you are kind of in between. Maybe some of you have never heard it at all. This is a formal process to possibly remove public officials from their office. Usually in the context of this word, we think of it as meaning just the president, but it can mean other officials as well too. And this process of impeachment actually comes from the Constitution. And we have to talk about it too, because it is not only important for our understanding because it doesn't happen very often to sitting presidents or many public officials very often. And so every single time it's used, it sets a new precedent. Or in other words, every time somebody's impeached, it gives new rules for what's going to happen to possibly the next set of people, right? Every outcome sets a precedence. And that's the case for government at all levels as well too. It sets an example of how we're going to go forward. So let's look at this image. This is a wonderful little infographic tying all of these things together in step one. So analyze this picture, discuss as a class. So the impeachment process says, according to the United States Constitution, impeachment is a charge of treason, turning your back on your country, bribery, taking goods or money in exchange for something else, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. High crimes is a weird one. Some constitutional scholars believe it to mean felonies. Some believe it to be something lesser than that. And misdemeanors, which are lesser crimes. And we'll cover misdemeanors more when we get to the judicial branch or the courts. And this process may lead to the removal of a public official from office. So the House of Representatives, one of our chambers of Congress, has the power to impeach. And it's so important for us to realize this is a two-step process. You can have an impeached president without having a convicted president who was not removed from office. In fact, that's what we have right now. If we're looking in 2020 before the election, that's what we have right now. Our President Trump has been impeached, but he was not removed from office or convicted. So he's a great example of this process going basically halfway. So the House of Representatives, any action preceding an impeachment vote, such as investigatory hearings, are up to the House to define and pursue. And it's passed on to the Judiciary Committee, which is one of the lower level committees within the House of Representatives, which by majority vote will determine if grounds of impeachment is valid. And then it goes to the floor, and they need a simple majority to impeach. And then if passed, it is sent to the Senate for trial. So we see over here, since there are 435 members of the House of Representatives, you would only need 218 to impeach. That's just over 50%. And that number could even be lower if you have a few people sit out or not attend the actual impeachment hearings. Okay, so it starts in the House, and then you can be impeached by just reaching this majority. Just like with our president, he was impeached on 2 accounts, which reached this vote, okay? And then it goes over to the Senate, and then they have the power to conduct the trial, which is like a criminal trial, and we'll talk more about that with the judicial branch as well too, to actually remove that official. And then they selected members of the House and their counsel acting as the prosecutors overseeing this trial to present the evidence. But this one is where it gets a little bit more difficult. This one needs 2/3 vote of members to be needed for conviction and expulsion from office. So that's over 66% of people from the Senate to actually remove this person from office, okay? And if there were 100 people in the Senate, if everybody's accounted for, that'd be 67 people. So if convicted, the official is automatically ousted with no possibility of appeal. The Senate can also ban convicted person from holding another federal office. And then if acquitted, the official remains in office. So this 6 is what happened to President Trump. So that's like, memorize this graphic. This is the best graphic I could find for really expressing this idea. Memorize this, right? This is a really important process. We're going to actually be acting it out as well too in class. So step 2, alone or as a class, and you guys can do this alone because it has quite a bit of evidence. I want you to watch the video below, and then while watching the video, come up with 2 reasons why Trump should be impeached and 2 reasons why he should not be impeached, based off the impeachment process in step 1. So this is where they bring the investigation forth into the impeachment process. And you wanted to determine why, based on the evidence in this video, why he should and should not be impeached. You're thinking of arguments, okay? And then we're going to take that a step further. So you want to go to the impeachment chart in step 3 in OneNote. It's called Impeachment Chart Trump. And then you're going to fill out the following chart regarding President Trump's impeachment charges, which are abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, using the information below with your own research. Notify me in Canvas once you're done. And these are the 2 things which he was ultimately impeached for. I believe there was a 3rd charge which did not get enough of a vote, but we're going to just key in on these 2. The first one is abuse of power, which means the commission of an unlawful act done by a public official which affects the performance of official duties, and an obstruction of Congress, similar to obstruction of justice, which is the impediment of government activities that can be done through perjury or false statements, bribery, fraud, destruction of evidence, and other means. And I've done a lot of the research for you in these 5 sources. My personal favorite is the source 5. It gives you a lot of historical context and legal advice. This guy's amazing, Legal Eagle on YouTube. He's wonderful at breaking down all this. So if you don't look at any of these other ones, I recommend you look at source 5. And what you're looking at down here for the chart is arguments in favor of impeachment. He did commit this certain crime, abuse of power or obstruction of Congress, or arguments against impeachment. He did not commit this crime, okay? And then evidence 1, evidence 2, evidence 3, evidence 4, evidence 5, evidence 6. And then you want to explain each piece of evidence. So put the top line up here, the bare minimum of what he did or the evidence for it, and then explain it directly below. Then you're going to come back here, and whenever we come back together as a class, I want you to select one of these 2 options for the next 2 days. So these will be the last 2 days of the week with us together. And then you need to let me know where you stand on this. So A, we can have a class debate on whether Trump meets the standards of impeachment. Students will be on debate teams. 1 student will be the moderator, and non-participants will be commenting on the debate and asking questions to the participants. We will then act out the impeachment process as members of Congress, just like you guys acted out the passing a bill as members of Congress. We're going to do the same with impeachment. And for this to work, we cannot have any less than 4 students to act as people who are debating. So I need 4 people who feel confident in their ability to debate. I'm going to need 1 moderator, somebody who knows the material well enough on both sides to ask the questions. And then we're going to be scoring each other based on how well we debate. Okay? Or option B is you can complete an essay, probably a 5-paragraph essay, examining the evidence of Trump's impeachment. So you can choose either one. You can do either one. And by Wednesday, you're going to want to let me know what your choice is. So what you want to submit is your response to step 2, your submission that you're done with the OneNote, and then which option you're choosing, 4A or 4B for this other activity. And with that, please let me know if I can help you out in any way. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.